Hey folks, thank you for coming back for another beautiful, glorious, sensitive episode of Aghast. Christ, I'm so happy that some of you actually come back and listen to us. We got a fun one for you today, one that goes back a few hundred years. See if you can guess what it is. We got little bitches acting like animals, hangings, burnings, and courtroom drama. That's right, we are talking about the stupid Salem Witch Trials and how fucking stupid people used to be way back in the day. Not that much dumber than they are today, to be honest. I couldn't get too pissed off because this is so far in the past, but the sheer fucking concept of how dumb these people are and how people are like that today, that's what pisses me off. And I hope you see the connections as well. So grab yourself some brown liquor or whatever the fuck and buckle up and let's get into this. I'm John. And I am Kat, who's playing her 15th playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. And this is Aghast. Hi, folks.
Hi, Eric.
Holy shit.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
All right. Well, enough of the pleasantries. Let's get on with the goddamn show, shall we?
Sure.
Or do we have a good one today?
I think you'll like this one.
Yeah. What is it about? Is it a recent one or a not recent one?
It's a real hot one. It's a real burner of a story.
Okay. We're already drunk. What are we talking about today?
We never introduced the show this way. Why would we do so now?
God.
You will learn what we were talking about when I begin speaking.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead and begin speaking.
Well, we have a disclaimer to do.
Fine.
Sir John A. MacDonald.
I was stalling time to think about what to do for the disclaimer. So, I'm ready now, though. Cue the fucking music. Hey, folks. We here at Aghast have a lighter touch to true crime. The lightest touch you could possibly fucking imagine. We are like that cat you own that you rarely see. And every so often you hear like scratching somewhere and you go looking and they're gone. And it's overweight, yet you never see it eat. And it always is grumpy and it claws at your ankles. And there's that moment when the house is quiet and you start hearing and you're like, oh shit. Rumsfeld is at it again. So you go running and you see this oblong shaped cat with patches of fur missing because you're a terrible owner. And it's just dry heaving onto a patch of carpet. And you quickly try and move it off that carpet because that carpet is special to you. That carpet is shag. And there'll be a hell of a lot of mess to clean up. And you quickly get that cat way over onto some tile or laminate. And just as your hand moves away, it throws up yellowish, brownish bile all over your wrist, and it trickles down your fingertips, and it's immediately cold somehow, and you recoil back, and the cat actually then looks at you and then throws up on the floor a turd-looking hairball. And you go and you wash your hands, and you think to yourself, wait a second, this is my one opportunity. And you take that drippy finger and you put it to your nose.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And you think, that's not too bad. And you just ever so slightly dab the cat's throw up just under your tongue.
Stop.
Where you know the receptors would be strongest for that flavor. Some call that umami.
You are disgusting.
We here at Aghast, we are that throw up. We are the cat throw up of true crime from the obese cat of podcasts.
We're the hairball?
No, we're the throw up. Anyways, the reason we have to have this air of levity is because true crime sucks. It always has and always will. Don't fool yourself. And we need to go to fucking work and not be depressed while we're there. So if you are not a fan of making fun of and belittling and ridiculing murderers, rapists, and their fucking families that made them, and all the other bastards that made it easier for them to do what they did, if you don't like that, you're a clown and a fool, and your hair is probably blue or some other shade that doesn't belong on a fucking human head. For the rest of you, you're courageous, you're freedom fighters, and you're strong, and you're cultured, and we welcome you, and we hope that you get whatever the fuck you're looking for from this podcast, and if you don't, well, drink up and drive home safely. Thank you for tuning in. Bless your hearts. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was beautiful.
Well, I'm sure we'll
Just
laugh
like
about it
you.
another time. Whatever. What are we talking about today? Seriously.
All right, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Get on with the goddamn show.
Okay. You know, people are going to start thinking you don't love me very much.
Yeah, well, they don't get to see our sex tapes.
Okay, my goodness.
Our bang bucks. You're going to see me put my fucking dick in your mouth and your ass.
You
In that order.
can cut that out, mister.
I will say whatever the fuck I want.
You will say it, but then you will cut it out. Feel
I'm
free to say whatever you want.
I'm going to show you my
If that
dong later.
makes it, I will not post.
Okay. Going to show you my dong later.
Okay. Feel better saying it twice. All right.
Show you my long dong.
Yeah. Did you draw one on paper or
Okay, whatever.
something?
Just
Okay.
read the fucking script so we can get on with our Christ-in lives.
Today, we are taking a closer look at the Salem Witch Trials.
Oh boy, here we go.
A tragic...
Is this a story about your mother and my mother?
Very funny. A tragic period of time where fear, religion, and suspicion produced one of the most infamous witch hunts in history. Let's go back in time to Salem Village, Massachusetts in 1692.
Oh, please.
To understand what unfolded in Salem Village, we need to imagine life in a 1692 Puritan colony. Life here was strict and deeply influenced by severe religious beliefs. The Puritans were a Protestant group who believed in leading godly lives, fearing and often seeing the devil as an ever-present threat lurking in their community.
Yeah. I feel the same way every time I see someone with blue hair walk by. Just like, damn. Especially when I'm driving by a university. The ever-present threat of stupidity.
In this society, the church was the center of life. The Bible was law, and ministers had considerable authority. Villagers lived in close quarters, watched each other closely, and were quick to judge and call out those who didn't conform.
This sounds like today.
I know. History repeats itself, right?
Yeah.
Acts as simple as missing church could spark suspicion.
He missed church. He didn't get the host.
Didn't we see something like that in the movie The Witch?
Yeah.
Yeah. In addition to their strict religious beliefs, Puritans were superstitious. It was common to believe in omens, curses, and dark forces. At the time, diseases like smallpox and harsh winters with failed crops were explained as punishment from God or the work of Satan.
How do you choose?
I know. If punishment from God or work of Satan, is that not like that kind of like pot calling the kettle black? Like they're the same thing.
Yeah.
And Salem itself was no stranger to conflict. Disputes between neighbors and families were frequent, ranging from boundary issues to accusations of theft and dishonesty.
You stole my goat. Yeah, well, you stole my daughter.
Our story begins in early 1692 in the home of Reverend Samuel Parris, the local minister of Salem Village. Reverend Parris was a man already facing criticism from villagers, some of whom felt he was too demanding and overly concerned with wealth. This friction laid the groundwork for mistrust and growing tensions within the community.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know a guy named Paris, and he does seem a little bit religious.
Is he a reverend?
No.
Does he wear a pilgrim hat?
No, he's a landscape architect, but similar.
Oh, I thought you were joking.
No.
Oh, okay. It was in this environment that two young girls, Betty Parris, Reverend Parris's 9-year-old daughter, and Abigail Williams, his 11-year-old niece, began to exhibit strange behavior.
Uh-oh.
They screamed, convulsed, barked, and contorted in unnatural ways, shocking and terrifying those who saw it.
God, these are the original furries.
Yeah, they maybe just identified as...
Yeah, we identify as fucking stupid people.
They also claimed they were being pricked by invisible pins. Desperate to understand what was happening, Reverend Parris brought in Dr. William Griggs. When Griggs couldn't find any physical explanation, he declared that the girls were, quote, under an evil hand, end quote. Soon, other girls in the village began showing similar symptoms, including Ann Putnam Jr.
Wait.
I know.
This girl's name is Junior?
Yeah.
That seems so strange. I never heard of a girl being a junior.
Mercy Lewis, and Mary Walcott.
Yeah, of course Mary would be involved in this fucking crap.
These young girls, the ones suffering fits and convulsions, would become central figures in the trials that followed. They pointed to people they claimed were tormenting them through supernatural means. Their first accusations landed on 3 women: Tituba, Reverend Parris's enslaved servant from the Caribbean; Sarah Good, a local beggar; and Sarah Osborne, an elderly sick woman who had been in disputes with her neighbors. These 3 women fit the profile of those Puritans considered outsiders.
Yeah, elderly sick women are outsiders.
Tituba was especially vulnerable, not only because of her low social status, but also due to her different background, being from the Caribbean. On March 1st, 1692, Tituba, Sarah Good, and Sarah Osborne were brought before local magistrates Jonathan Corwin and John Hawthorne. The proceedings were public, drawing crowds who came to witness what they believed was a fight against dark forces.
Oh, this is retarded.
During her interrogation, Tituba confessed, possibly out of fear, more likely out of fear, or maybe as a means to protect herself from harsher punishment. She claimed to have seen, quote, the devil's book, end quote, and spoke of strange creatures, red cats, yellow birds that served the devil.
Really? That's awfully specific for her to be just out of fear claiming guilt.
We don't know how much that was led to.
Oh,
they were
fair
probably
enough.
like, what did you see? And you're just listing shit, right? We've seen so many false confession videos, like they lead or they push, and
Yeah.
she even implicated others, saying there were more witches hiding in the village. Her testimony added fuel to the growing fire, convincing many that there was a full-blown conspiracy of witches in their midst. Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne, however, denied the accusations. They maintained their innocence, even as the young girls, writhing and screaming, accused them of supernatural attacks right there in the courtroom. I think these little Sarahs are just a bunch of actresses.
Yeah, they're little cunts.
But in the eyes of the court and villagers, their denials only served as more evidence of guilt.
Oh my God, they're doing things.
With Tituba's testimony, the fears in Salem exploded. Soon, accusations spread beyond Salem Village to other towns in Massachusetts. The accused included people of various ages, social statuses, and genders. Those considered outcasts, like Bridget Bishop, who had been married several times and was known for her outspoken personality, were prime targets.
Her outspoken personality?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's everyone's drunk aunt.
Yeah. Me.
Hi.
Yeah. And just being married several times. Like,
Yeah.
what are the men? The men were, we're just as,
Yeah.
we're divorcing
it's
her as
so
well.
fucking stupid.
But even respectable community members were not immune. Rebecca Nurse, a well-regarded 71-year-old woman, known for her devotion to God, was accused, shocking many who knew her as devout and kind.
71 years old, though, in 16 blah, blah, blah.
1692.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a fucking colony?
Yeah, Like, no kidding.
with,
And
like, all kinds of shit going on? Like, that's incredible that she got to 71. Like, what was her diet?
her accusation caused a rift within the community, as many felt she could not possibly be guilty of witchcraft. But the collective fear was so strong that even those who doubted the trials felt powerless to intervene. The trials relied heavily on, quote, spectral evidence, which meant that the testimony of the accusers, mainly the girls experiencing the fits, the Sarahs, was taken at face value. They claimed to see the specters, or spirits of the accused, tormenting them. This type of evidence was nearly impossible to disprove and caused even more paranoia. Anyone could be next.
Yeah, anyone at this point.
As the accusations continued, the first actual trials began in June 1692. The legal proceedings were held in Salem town, where a special court, the Court of Oyer and Terminer, was established specifically to try cases of witchcraft. The court was presided over by Judge Samuel Sewall, Judge William Stoughton, and Judge Samuel Phipps, who were passionate in their pursuit of justice against what they saw as a dangerous conspiracy. Bridget Bishop was the first to be tried and executed. Her trial set a grim precedent. As one of the first to face the gallows, she was convicted based on spectral evidence and the testimonies of the afflicted girls. Bishop was hanged on June 10th, 1692.
That's fucking stupid. This is so fucking stupid.
Over the next few months, the court convicted and sentenced 19 more people, 14 of them women and 5 men, to death by hanging. One accused, Gills Corey, refused to enter a plea as he knew the court would seize his property if he did. In response, the court subjected him to peine forte et dure, a method of execution in which heavy stones were placed on his chest until he was crushed to death. Corey's last words as stones were added was reportedly, quote, more weight, end quote.
This guy's a fucking badass. Holy shit.
By the fall of 1692, public opinion began to shift. The devastation and bloodshed had shaken even some of the staunchest believers. Cotton Mather, a leading Puritan minister who had initially supported the trials, began to caution against the use of spectral evidence. His father, Increase Mather...
What are these names? My name is Increase.
My uncle, Decrease.
Yeah. Yeah. And my child, Cotton. And this is my daughter, Wool.
Our Mother Loom.
Yeah, Mother Loom and Aunt Cashmere.
Yeah.
Jesus, what is this shit?
So yeah, his father, Increase, went further, urging that, quote, it were better that 10 suspected witches should escape than that one innocent person should be condemned, end quote. Under growing pressure, Governor William Phips intervened, suspending the Court of Oyer and Terminer in October of 1692. All future cases were directed to a superior court that did not allow spectral evidence, leading to a sharp drop in convictions.
No kidding.
Imagine that.
Yeah, wow.
In May 1693, the remaining accused were freed and the Salem Witch Trials officially came to an end.
Man, can you imagine if you were one of the remaining 3? Like, holy shit.
Yeah. In the years that followed, there was a collective reckoning. Some of the judges, including Judge Sewall, publicly confessed their guilt and repented for their role in the trials. The Massachusetts colonial government eventually declared a day of fasting and soul-searching to atone for the tragedy. One day.
I don't know how to search my soul. Do you?
Just one day.
I have long, hot showers that involve...
a lot of tears.
Yeah, tears from multiple orifices. But I still can't search my soul. I don't think I'm really soul-searching.
No, not your soul.
Yeah.
In the Salem Witch Trials, 19 people were hanged and 1 was pressed to death. None of the accused witches in Salem were burned. This misconception is a powerful example of how historical events can become distorted over time. Some reasons why this misconception persists are European influence. In Europe, burning at the stake was a common punishment for heresy, which often included accusations of witchcraft, particularly in countries like Germany, France, and Switzerland. Thousands of accused witches were burned. When people in America learned about European practices, they often assumed the same happened in the American colonies.
Oh, that's interesting.
Misinterpretation. Historical records sometimes blur details or use dramatic language to describe executions. Some sources used burned metaphorically to signify that the accused were being condemned and consumed by a cleansing fire. Over time, these accounts were taken more literally.
I think that's full of shit. These people are so, like, by the book, the letter of the word. There was no way they were going to say burned means something else. Burned mean burned.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Historical records? I don't know. They lie about shit all the time. Media, literature, and pulp culture. Stories, plays, and movies about witch trials often depicted dramatic, fiery executions to heighten tension and emotion. Works like The Crucible by Arthur Miller, while not showing burnings, helped spread the misconception by linking Salem to broader European witch trials in the audience's minds. Confusion with other punishments. In many witch hunts, convicted individuals faced brutal punishments like hanging, drowning, or crushing. For example, in Salem, those convicted were hanged or pressed to death. Burning witches wasn't the chosen method, but because it was used elsewhere, people often associate all witch trials with burning. The Salem Witch Trials remain one of the most haunting episodes in American history. Over time, it's been seen as a cautionary tale about the dangers of extremism, groupthink, and a legal system that disregards evidence in favor of fear. They are a stark reminder of how quickly people can be overcome by hysteria and how they can be swept up in mass panic with devastating consequences. mob mentality at its finest.
Oh, don't we know about that bullshit?
And that is the end of the Salem Witch Trials.
Nice.
That's Magistrate Samuel Sewall. And that's William Staunton.
Just the way they're drawn, like, their faces look like old russet potatoes. You know, like, the kind of potato that's been sitting in your goddamn, like, bag.
It's starting to grow like the spuds or whatever you call
and
it.
It's just like, I could cook that. You know, if I boil it for like 30 minutes, it might be okay.
Or you pull them out and they're already soft. Yeah. Like, you don't even need to boil them.
I like Magistrate Samuel Sewall. Like, he looks like Joy Behar.
What's his hand doing?
No, that's William
Staunton. Yeah.
Yeah. He's basically Chief Magistrate William Staunton.
It's like, just take the picture.
Yeah. Hurry the fuck up. Either that or he's like, my dick is this long.
Yeah.
Take a look at that crap.
For comparison, can you just put your hand out like so? Yeah, and that's Samuel Parris and Reverend Samuel Willard. They look alike, just difference in age.
Well, people were ugly back then,
yeah.
and all ugly people look the same.
But I thought it was a really interesting case to cover.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
It was all over these two bitches that just pretended they had fucking issues.
Allegedly. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to victim blame, but Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne, you know, never trust a Sarah.
No.
Not a Sarah with an H at the end.
Stupid bitches.
You know, every female bully I had growing up, there was always a Sarah in the group. And I will fucking name names right now, I swear to God. Don't tempt me.
All right, shall we do our quote of the day?
Yes, who are we doing? Chris Tucker?
Okay, and now let's listen to the wise musings of his completely tuckeredness, Christopher Tucker.
Making people laugh.
I can't help it. Making people laugh is giving, and it's healing too. When people can go up to the movies and forget about their problems, it's a good thing. That's why I want to work.
Right on.
Fuck
Mr.
yeah, you're
Tucker,
right.
Yes.
If only people fucking made movies like that, where we could just forget about everything.
I want more Chris Tucker in film.
Yeah.
Every Chris
Give
Tucker
us more
movie I've seen,
yeah.
Give us more Chris Tucker.
Yeah. Give us more Orlando Jones. I miss that guy.
Who's Orlando Oh, yes. Yeah, I forgot. Gosh, he has not been in anything.
He was so funny in Evolution.
I don't know that one.
You don't know Evolution with David Duchovny and Julianne Moore?
No.
And
the more actors you name,
Sean William Scott?
The answer is still going to be no.
Get the fuck out of here. We'll watch it later. For those of you who haven't watched Evolution, watch it, and you'll feel better about it.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah. It's kind of like a real spoof on X-Files.
Is Julianne Moore like she is in every movie? I think she's just an oversexed, booby showing gal.
No, actually, she's kind of like a repressed ice queen in need of a good humping.
Like, okay.
I think that's what they call her in the movie, a repressed ice queen in need of a good humping.
In case I forget it to put it in the show notes, everyone take a drink for John's tooth whistle that just happened.
All right.
Because I don't want to forget about that one, so take a drink right now.
Thanks, everybody. And thank you for tuning in, and bless your hearts, and Merry fucking Christmas.
And Happy New Year, but this one's likely coming out after, so we hope you had a Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
We love you all.
Okay, well,
God bless us, everyone.
Drive home safe, drink up. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You can check us out on YouTube at Catam Concoction.
That's CATAM CONCOCTION.
And on Instagram at cast_Aghast.
Remember, there's a silent H.
Oh my god.
Holy fuck.
So just like another version of God.
God, Christy loves.
I can't. I will only ever say Christing moving forward. So let's go back in time to Salem Village, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
I hate it.
Massachusetts.
Let's go back in time to Salem Village, Massachusetts.
Sets.
Doesn't matter how fast I'm saying it fast.
Does the sun rise or does it set? It sets.
Sets.
Use your fucking tongue in the back of your teeth.
Let's go back in time to Salem Village, Massachusetts.
Sets.
In
1960. Oh, that's 1692. Whoops. Do say it again.
Let's go back in time. Stop. We'll never get out of here. To understand what unfolded in Salem Village, we need to imagine life in a 1692 Puritan colony.
Puritan.
Their first accusations landed on 3 women. Tituba?
What?
Tituba?
How come that's not a popular name anymore? Tituba. Tituba.
The Massachusetts Colonial? I never know if it's colonel or colonial.
No, it's because English is so great.
Yeah. The Massachusetts Colonial